Greetings, friends. I've taken a couple of weeks off and I have returned. Now, civilization. Civilization as we know it is coming to an end. I know I sound like one of those nutcases that should be marching around with a sign saying the end is nigh. But it is true. There's definitely a collapse taking place. But this is nothing new. This is nothing new at all. This is the norm for all civilizations that come to an end. It is inevitable. Now, will it happen in the next couple of years, in the next couple of centuries? Who knows? But we definitely can see signs that it's happening. An example. My hometown of San Francisco. San Francisco was once the cleanest, let's say, most cultural, most European-like city probably in the United States. At least some say this. Now it's a literal shithole. Do you know there are apps you can get on your phone? So when you go to San Francisco, you know where to avoid the shit piles. Human shit, not from dogs. What has happened? The reason why my hometown is dying is because of, in some ways, too much civilization. Too much compassion. These people who find or consider themselves so advanced socially, progressively, have doomed my city to failure. But San Francisco is only a microcosm for what is going on in the greater whole of civilization itself. Now, as I've stated, barbarism is the natural state of humankind. That's how we had lived for many hundreds of thousands of years, if you will. We are innately savage beings. We are animals. This is all a fluke, and it will end. Look around you. Look at the decay. The more civilization, the more they decay, which sounds pretty fucking ironic. Why is this happening? Why is this happening, though, you may ask? Now, this may sound fucking outrageous coming from me, but it's because of the lack of God. What the fuck, you might be saying? That's right. You have to be strong to survive the death of God. You have to be strong to depart from the Christ current. An example. Imagine there were no laws. Or better yet, you were all powerful. Meaning you were the dictator of the US or even the world. What would you do? Who would you kill on a whim? Or who would you fuck? Think about it. What atrocities would you commit simply because you felt like it? Remember, there's no repercussions. Do what thou wilt because you are the law. Could you keep it in check? Could you keep you in check? I don't think most people could. This is because most people don't know their demon, and a belief in God, in damnation, keeps that demon in check. That's why God and the Christ current were necessary to keep the weak in check, to keep the herd together, the flock in its place. But when you depart from the current, chaos takes dominion over your soul. The Christ current, the foundation of Western civilization, is fading fast, and most of you are saying good. But I'm saying bad, because most are too weak to survive without it. So, what comes next? Is it time for the Leviathan Current? I've made a video on that recently. I'll leave a link for those who haven't seen it yet. Now, some say the next current is Satan, the current of Satan, if you will. But Leviathan is a mask, one of the masks of that greater archetype, that of the adversary. I forget where I read this quote, but it states that the only thing Yahweh fears is Leviathan. I find that so fucking intriguing. I could do a whole video on that. But the weak of mind and spirit can't handle this adversarial current. They don't realize that it's about themselves. They have to be adversarial too, first and foremost. Instead of it starting with themselves, they project their personal, deep-seated self-contempt out onto the world. It's Jungian projection, if you will. So you have a whole lot of weak people running amok. Many of them, most of them, don't even realize, though, that they've been swept up by this current, this adversarial current. They have no awareness of adversarialism from an esoteric or philosophical perspective. Would not see themselves as satanic, if you will. But some of them do, and we know who they are. Most don't, though, and probably think Satanism is stupid. But they've been swept up, though. Not unlike the Germanic people of Europe in the early part of the 20th century who was swept up by the Wotan current, who had no knowledge of Wotan, who he was, or what he means from a mythological, philosophical perspective. They were just swept downstream, but I've gone over that many, many times before in previous videos. Anyway, with today, what's going on today with the current of Leviathan, the adversarial archetype, instead of being agents of change, of ushering in the aeon of Leviathan, they're part of the problem. Why, you may ask? Is because they still have a Christian mindset. Most people do. Most people in the Western world, even though they consider themselves atheistic or whatever the hell they want to call themselves, communistic, Marxist, they still very much have that Christian mindset. You might be saying, I thought their philosophy, though, was antithetical to the Christian current. No. What they've done is removed the authoritarian aspect, the fear of damnation, but still retain that collectivistic and self-righteousness of that philosophy. Let's face it, even though pride is a sin within Christianity, there's nothing more pompous than a self-righteous Christian. And that's what they have. They have that same self-righteousness and that blind faith of the Christian zealot. They think they've broken away, that they've rebelled. But they haven't. They're fellow travelers. But you would think this is keeping the, well, think about it. You would think it's keeping the Christian current alive then. No, remember, we've been on the downhill slide represented by the Antichrist, the second fish in the constellation of Pisces. This may sound strange, but you need to see my video on Leviathan to get the symbolic reference to that. To put it simply, they still have a very Christian outlook within an adversarial current. Change can't come, will not come until they become adversarial to themselves. You'll never be worth a fuck until you face that demon, that shadow self. You can't make real change until you make change within yourself. You can never become self-deified if you don't know what the fuck you're the god over. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't know your inner realm, that realm you are sovereign over. Remember what I said just a little while ago about what would you do if there were absolutely no laws? You were the law. If your answer is, I'd fuck all the bitches and kill any motherfucker who looked at me wrong, then you're not ready for this. You're part of the problem. Change will not come. You still need God. That sounds fucking weird coming from me, but you do. You still need God. You need that shepherd, that slave master to keep you in check. So, in conclusion, my friends, what do we do to bring about this inner change, to truly go beyond the influence of the Christ current? It's by being honest as to who we are. As I said, we're barbaric by nature. We live in an unnatural state. We have to return to the primal within. But more on that in a future video. Until next time.